Hi, I'm Bill. I'm an assistive technology specialist and trainer at New England Low Vision and Blindness. And in this video, I want to introduce you to an incredibly useful feature of Apple devices called Apple Shortcuts. In this case, I'm working with an iPhone, but this feature is available on all Apple devices. I bet you're wondering what an Apple Shortcut actually is. Well, in short, an Apple Shortcut is a feature on Apple devices that allows you to automate some of the popular and useful tasks and features, as well as create your own custom tasks. You can even add some functionality that isn't normally available on your device out of the box. For example, I work with the visually impaired on a daily basis, so I run into a lot of situations where Siri falls short, despite of its typical usefulness in regards to providing voice-activated features and tasks. Sometimes the functionality you need isn't something that Siri can do by default. For example, many times when teaching my clients how to use the accessibility feature to magnify the screen, they have trouble using the 3-finger double tap required to activate and deactivate the screen magnifier. And unfortunately, it's not something that you can turn on and off with Siri. Well, not out of the box at least. But by using a shortcut, I was able to enable my clients to turn the magnification on and off with a simple voice command, and then the zoom feature would be turned on or off depending on its current state. Another useful shortcut I created was one to help my visually impaired clients add contacts to their phone. This is usually a task that requires assistance from someone with vision, such as an assistant or a family member. For example, during my usual iPhone trainings, there comes a point where we have the iPhone ready to go, it's all set up, but then they need to have the family member enter all of their contacts before they can say something like, "Hey Siri, call John Smith," or "Hey Siri, email John Smith," because unless those contacts are in the device, Siri doesn't have access to them. And this is another situation where Siri doesn't have the functionality, whereas you could say, "Hey Siri, add new contact." Out of the box, Siri responds with, "Sorry, I can't do that." So a shortcut such as the one I created will provide a bit more independence to my clients, where that is one less thing that they need to rely on someone else for. So now, with that shortcut, they can say, "Hey Siri, add new contact," and with the way I have the shortcut scripted, Siri will ask them for the contact details such as first and last name, as well as the phone number and email address. The contact will then be added, and then they'll have immediate access to that contact for calls, texting, and emails by saying things like, "Hey Siri, call John Smith," or "Hey Siri, email John Smith." I'll cover using Siri for calls, texting, and emails in another video. You can acquire pre-made shortcuts in the Shortcut Gallery in the Shortcuts app. I'll show you that right now. As a matter of fact, if I open the Shortcuts app, I'll go to the Shortcut Gallery, which is the tab on the lower right. And that kind of gives you a list of all the different shortcuts that are available for you to download directly to your device. They break it down by all these different categories, such as essentials, collaborate better, photography. For example, let's go into the photography category. And you can see there's a bunch of different shortcuts. Remove background, which is a really useful one. I downloaded that one, by the way, and it's very effective. You can take a picture, and by using that shortcut, you can remove the background, leaving just the foreground. So I had a picture of myself with a background of trees and things, and when I did that, it removed all the background and had just me in there. So that way you could use that for like a picture for your website or something like that. But like I said, there's all kinds of useful shortcuts in here. These are all pre-made, and if you want to add one, you can just click on the plus that's on the button, and it'll add it to your device. So these are all different categories, and these are ones that are pre-made. So on the tab on the left side is the Shortcuts tab. That shows what's currently on your device, and this can include ones that you've actually created yourself or ones that you downloaded. In the middle, there's a tab called Automation, and that's something else altogether where you can create automated tasks. It's basically something that can happen when something else occurs. For example, this one I show on here, when I arrive at 3 Bluebird Lane, that's me. When I come home, I basically have it so it says, "Welcome home." I mean, I can maybe be a little bit more elaborate with that one and have it, turn on lights or maybe even open the garage door. But that's just a simplified version of what you can automate too. Rather than calling it up with Siri or pressing a button, it can happen automatically when the device detects that I've arrived at home. The functionality of your shortcuts can be as simple or as complex and powerful as you want, depending on your own coding and scripting capabilities. You don't need to have experience in coding or programming to create shortcuts. but it certainly helps when it comes to incorporating advanced functionality and logic into your shortcuts. For example, I have a programming background, so that certainly helps when I want to add some logic into my shortcuts, such as an if-else statement or variables and text manipulation and conversion code. But like I said, you can create some useful shortcuts without an extensive programming background. Once you have a shortcut created, you can then add it to your home screen so that you can have a button you can press to activate it, or you can simply activate the shortcut by voice using Siri by saying, "Hey Siri," and then saying the name of the shortcut. So I do recommend when you name your shortcuts, make them pretty easy to remember, and maybe even name them in such a way where you'll understand their overall function. I'll now demonstrate the functionality of a couple of shortcuts I created. So for example, I have one where I can add a contact. So I'm going to say, "Hey Siri, add new contact."
Say or spell the first name.
John.
Say or spell the last name.
Smith.
Would you like to add a phone number?
Certainly.
Phone number?
401-401-4011.
Would you like to add an email address?
Yes.
Say or spell the email address.
johnsmith@gmail.com.
Done.
Now, if I went into contacts, that contact would be in there right now. So I didn't have to open the contacts app. I didn't have to type anything. Think about a blind client who meets somebody or just knows the person's number, but they want to be able to get it into their phone, so that way they can just say something like, "Hey Siri, call John Smith," and then it would happen. So if I go, "Hey Siri, open contacts and search for John Smith."
What would you like to know about John Smith?
What's his phone number?
John Smith's phone number is 401-401-4011.
What's his email address?
John Smith's email address is johnsmith@gmail.com.
So that's basically it as far as that shortcut is concerned. It makes it super easy to add a contact to your contacts. Another one I did was, like I said, enabling and disabling the zoom feature, which magnifies the screen. A lot of clients that I have may have issues like tremors and things like that, where they can't do the 3-finger double tap required to make the screen zoom in. So I created one called Toggle Zoom. "Hey Siri, toggle zoom."
That's done.
So you can't see it on here, but if I turn the phone around, you can see that the screen's a lot bigger now, so I can actually drag my screen around. So now when I say, "Hey Siri, toggle zoom,"
That's done.
see, and it goes back down to normal. So just by using my voice, I'm able to turn the screen magnification on or off, whereas that would be something that typically Siri can't do by default out of the box. So that's been a little demonstration regarding Apple shortcuts and what you can do with them. If you have any questions, give us a call.